Hi, my name is Selena Myers, and I'm probably going to say some things in this video that are not considered PC, but it's just how it was said to my parents in the early 2000s. That was a different time. If you were not alive then, apologize. If you were, I also apologize. Not only was that the worst, but the best time to be alive. You see the title of this video, we're going to get to it, but I need to lead with something very important. I need to explain how I got to this situation. Let's go back to JK. I promise we're not going back that far, but we are for just a millisecond. Notes were sent home to parents. It said, read with your children. Read books with your children. My parents thought,
yes, we will read to our children.
They didn't think, hey, we should probably teach our kid how to read. I was the first child. They can't be expected of much. You read that, you think, yeah, I got it. It's fine. And guess what? Public school system served as it does, and nobody realized that I couldn't read anything until I was in grade 2. Not even cat, dog, and then no. At the same time as this, other teachers thought, hey, Selena seems a little different. Different wasn't an interesting word. They also thought, she can't read. She must be, and this is the word I'm afraid to say, slow. My grade 2 teacher, Mrs. Darby, went to my mother and said, hey, I think Selena might be a CAP kid. So CAP kids were this phenomenon that happened in the early 2000s, and it was children with, in the word CAP, central auditory processing issues. Every single kid that they sent to test for this was positive for this. Oh my God. And the way they explained it to my parents, this is what they sat them down. They said, okay, this is how this works. This is how central auditory processing issues work. If you talk about butterflies and you switch to bears, Selena will still think you're talking about butterflies for quite some time. It's going to take her a long time to process and get to that finish line that we have changed subjects. And the way they explained to my mom is, again, she's just a little slow, which I thought was interesting. And you know what's weird? They said that it had to do with how I could hear out of different ears. So I spent the rest of my school career, at least until high school, sitting in the front left side of the classroom. Tell me, explain, I don't know. And they would set up a Bristol board because I was having attention deficit issues. Here's the thing though, not a single soul diagnosed me with ADHD until I sought it out in college. Anyways, that was the least of my problems at this point. They sat me at the front of the classroom in the left seat, and get this, I was not allowed to copy notes from the chalkboard. No, I was a CAP kid. I couldn't do that. That was too hard for me. It'd be too hard to copy things from the board onto paper. So my friend Stephanie, she took the best notes. They would photocopy her notes and they would give them to me. I remember, and this is another thing that I'm afraid to say because you're gonna get mad at me, but this is just what my mom said to me in the early 2000s. She sat me down and she said, Selena, all we want you to be is average. You are a CAP kid. The world needs burger flippers too. It's okay, don't try too hard. Okay, maybe that's changed a little bit, but that is pretty much exactly what my mom said to me. And I just wasn't held to a higher standard like my brother. My brother, the beautiful, wonderful, I love my brother, Joel. He's a golden child. I love him. Called him the golden child. Our lives, like they say, 2 kids can grow up in the same family and be raised completely different. We were. My parents did their best with me, but they also didn't set their intentions very high with me. But I got confused, okay? Because it was very clear that once I learned to read, in grade 2, they taught me how to read. I picked it up instantly. Not only did I love to read, I became obsessed with books. I would go to the Woodstock Public Library and I would get a stack of chapter books this high and I would read them all in a week, and I would do it every single week. I loved it. Then I started to write. And by the time I got into grade, I'd say 10, I was taking academic English. I was getting fantastic marks in English, and I absolutely loved it. I loved writing stories. I loved learning about different pieces of literature through time, and I was obsessed with books. This was about the same time Audible was around. I was listening to books. I was pirating them from the internet. All I knew is that I loved books and I loved to write. My head was full of stories. But again, I feel like I wasn't taking that serious, even though, get this, in grade 3, I had my first poem published in a book that was sold nationwide, and it was called What is White? It was not a racist poem, okay? It was not. It was about snow and paper. Explain that to me. I don't know. My brain did it. So now here's an interesting fact. A lot of you guys know me for sleepwalking. Dad jokes. Adam, I have something important to tell you.
What's up?
I want to get a job cleaning beers. Something I really can see myself doing.
No.
Sorry, I can see myself doing. and tie-dye. It's tie-dye time, brothers! You guys know me for comedy that I do on the internet, but what you guys don't know is before all of that, I was writing books nobody read because no one knew who I was. Clue number 1, The Home Reader. I wrote this in my early 20s, and this was a book about being a home reader, which is, to other people, best way I can explain it is partially a medium / psychic / something. It's terribly written, but hey, I wrote this when I was practically a teenager. Over the years, I wrote a couple more books. We had Clandestine House, and we also had Blackwick Falls, we got Ghosts, we got Witches. But once I got popular on TikTok, I knew that there was a story that had lived inside of me my entire life that I wanted to bring out. Because, like many of you, raise your hand in the comments if this is you, I am obsessed with Twilight. I am obsessed with Vampire Diaries. I just love all the tropes in those books, and I had a story that had been building inside of me for years. The thing with vampires is they're always cut down to a certain kind of people. I wanted there to be a lot of inclusivity here, but I wanted to write something that was so juicy. And instead of a girl falling in love with 2 boys, we have a girl that's falling in love with a guy and a girl. I'm sorry, is it just bisexual panic inside of me? It probably is. But I'm not gonna lie, for the first time in my life, out of all the books that I have ever written, Hollow, let me get through the first edition. Hollow is the best book I've ever written, and I love it, and I'm already working on the second one. I had self-published this. This is the vibe that it gives off, very hoa hoa hoa. It was out for a bit when I got an email. So I'm going to be so freaking honest and clear here, and I'm gonna sound a little selfish, but I'm gonna tell you my 3 biggest dreams of my whole entire life. I have done a lot of things. I've done a lot of really cool things, and I have achieved a lot of my dreams, but I have a top 3, okay? Here they are. First one was to have a family, you know, husband, baby. It finally came true. Incredible. I love it. I'm so thankful, and that would not have happened without you guys. Next up, I really want a screenplay, which I am writing now. I've been working on them to become a movie, to be not just a movie that like I produce, like a movie that somebody picks up. Like I'm talking something big, like Blumhouse or A24 or Neon, something huge like that. Because I love to write, and I think I can write them something they like. But if you were to ask me, hey Selena, what is the number 1 thing you want to be taken serious for in your life? What would it be? What is it? I want people to love my writing. I want to be taken seriously as a writer, because here's the truth. What comes here and comes out of my mouth, not the same. What comes out of here and comes out of my fingers, eloquent as heck. See, I don't write like I sound. I promise you that right now. I got an email last summer. We were actually filming House on Eden, and it was from, and I'm going to tell you right now, I almost freaking passed out. It was from HarperCollins, one of the big 3 huge publishers in the whole entire world. And they said, we love Hollow. Pull it. Let's make it better. Let's put it back out in the world. So this is just a proof, okay? This is a proof, but this is what the book's gonna look like. It's going to be hardcover. It's gonna have sprayed edges with blood. It looks so good. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy. These have been going out to people. Lots of people have read this, but my dream is to be on the New York bestseller list. That is, out of all my dreams, other than family, like I have my 3 top dreams. That is my 3 top dreams. I just want to be on the New York bestseller list, which I know is going to be hard because a lot of people have bought this book back in the beginning, but it is going to be such a collector's piece. But along with that, I have to tell you the absolute craziest thing that happened in the whole world, but I must preface with this. I have a front bathroom in my house, okay? And when I moved in 3 years ago, I cut pages out of Hollow, I cut pages out of Twilight, and I cut pages out of Vampire Diaries. And I did the wallpaper in this bathroom, just in these 3 books pages. And I mixed my book with these vampire books because in my head, I'm like, this is gonna get me up there with the greats. Because I love this story, and I think that it's such a quick, fun, spooky, delicious kind of read. And the next book, like, this is a teaser. Do you see this? It's not a small book, but like, damn, the next one's gonna be huge, bro. Anyways, I would poop in there, and I would manifest that this book would be taken seriously, and it would get there, and somebody would notice it, and it would be a thing. And then HarperCollins emailed, and it was amazing. And then an even better thing happened, okay? Vampire Diaries, books. Read them all 10 times. Not gonna lie, I love the Twilight movies. The books, they're great, but I will choose the Vampire Diary books over Twilight any freaking day of the week. Apologies, sorry. I love L.J. Smith. I love all the series, Daughters of Darkness. I don't know if you've read all of L.J. Smith's books, but they are incredible. I said, please, can you reach out and see if she will read my book and say anything about my book? And she did. They emailed me and said, wow, we didn't expect to get this much. L.J. Smith had written a letterhead of magic about my book, and I bawled and I bawled and I bawled for days, and I ended up emailing her back. And a week later, I got the email that L.J. Smith had passed away. Knowing that my book was probably one of the last things she ever read, and endorsing my book was one of the last things she did will forever be the most honored I have ever felt in my entire life. We have a little blurb here that's on the front, which is crazy. And it says, brilliant new vampire lore, spine tingling, LJ Smith. I'm not going to share like the entire thing, but I'll give you another sentence that she had said. A fresh look at the vampire scene with some brilliant new vampire lore. Myers has a lean, deft way with words that engrosses you all the way to the end. Spine tingling. Overall, it is a great and unpredictable ride. It features a look at the dark underbelly of vampire politics and betrayals, but also of strength and goodness. The lore reminds me of Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. You will be thoroughly entertained. She literally put moments that she liked in the book, like yes, the liquid looked like blood. Wow, spine tingling. Other great moments when Mia wakes up in her coffin after dying and the introductions afterwards, double wow. Mia's first kiss with a certain high school sweetheart, touching and heartbreaking. Hollow has so many meanings, so creepy, and no spoilers, but there are some doozies in the end. I just have goosebumps thinking about it and knowing that she's not here anymore. But I feel this unbelievable urgency that like, I feel like her predecessor and I need to create things and not let these tropey vampire delicious moments die. And I just, I want to ask you a favor. That's all that this leads to, and that is the truth. And the favor is pre-order my book. Pre-order it. I want Hollow to live on. I want to write so many versions of it. I want this story to live. I don't want it to be 2 books, 3 books, 4 books. I want this vampire universe to go on. It bleeds with real life. That's the one thing that I do with vampires that I feel other people don't do. I make my vampires feel like it could be your next door neighbor. I make it feel like it could be that person in school. I make it really believable. And there are reviews out there that are so freaking good. There's reviews out there that are so bad. And I need to understand that as a writer, that people are going to hate it and people are going to love it. But what I love most is that people gave it a chance and people read it, which is absolutely awesome. And I hope you love it. I have links everywhere where you can go and you can pre-order Hollow. But my dream is to be on the New York bestseller list. I want to be number 1. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to be 2 or 3 or 4. And I know that's being greedy, but I believe in Hollow. I definitely believe in the next Hollow book. This I wrote 5 years ago. I'm barely that person anymore. 4 years ago, almost 5. I'm barely her anymore. And I read this and I love it. But knowing what's happening in the second book right now gives me freaking goosebumps. So if you love me and if I've ever made you laugh and you want to get yourself a little Christmas present or get it for someone else, the pre-orders are happening now and the books are going to be coming out on January 13th. And I'm going to be going on a freaking book tour. So I am going to be going to some locations. You are going to be able to see them right here. And there are going to be QR codes beside them for you to scan. I'm not sure if the Canadian dates are up yet, but you will be able to buy tickets for the Canadian dates coming up pretty soon. It's also crazy to go on a book tour because I've never done anything publicly that wasn't with like Chris or something. So going out all by myself, I'm so scared people aren't going to show up. I want to hug everyone and love everyone and kiss everyone. And I just, I want to thank you for giving me a chance. And if you have read Hollow, please drop down below what you thought of it. You guys built this life with me together. We all worked hard for everything that I've achieved, and I would love to see Hollow on the big screens. I would love for Hollow to fill the hole that we have all felt since there's been no Twilight movies and no new Vampire Diaries. Let's have Hollow be the next thing. And no, it's not Chris on the cover. Everybody thinks it is, and I totally see it now. But if you want to know, Chris is a character in this book. So there are going to be some familiar names in here, and you're going to know exactly who they are. I love you guys. Thanks for giving me a chance. Until next time. Bye, Boo Crew! Oh, a vampire, get it? Bye!